The time is 6:15. Here is the news, edited by Dilini Gunawardana, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. China expresses interest in assisting Sri Lanka in education and technical skills development. The need of the public awareness on information exchange is emphasized. The list of eligible applicants for welfare benefits are re-verified. Mailing the admission card for the GCE ordinary level examination commenced. Foreign news, Kremlin says Russia won't enter into hypothetical discussions on Black Sea grain deal. Sports news, tennis. Novak Djokovic criticizes Cameron Norrie's behavior at the Italian Open. Local news in detail. The governor of Yunnan province, Wang Yubo, called on Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardana to explore ways and means of establishing close cooperation between Yunnan and Sri Lanka. During a luncheon meeting at the Temple Trees today, they discussed potential of collaboration in trade, tourism, agriculture, technology and investments. Mr. Wang Yubo, who was accompanied by a top-level delegation of the Yunnan province government, expressed interest in assisting Sri Lanka in education and technical skills development. He said Yunnan province, with a population of 50 million and a GDP of $417 billion in 2022, is in a position to help friendly nations like Sri Lanka. The governor held a field study at Port City Colombo and plans to visit Kandy, Polonnaruwa and Eastern Province, where 25 million rupees worth school kits, equipment and food parcels will be distributed to several schools in the city. During the discussions, they identified that agriculture and tourism can be promoted as the pilot project in Sri Lanka. They also felt that local communities can be directly benefited by the innovative digital economic mechanism. World Telecommunications and Information Society Day was celebrated at the Ministry of Mass Media to help raise awareness of the possibilities that the use of the Internet and the information and communication technologies can bring to societies and economies, as well as of ways to bridge the digital divide. The day is celebrated marking the anniversary of the signing of the first International Telegraph Convention and the creation of the International Telecommunication Union. Addressing the gathering, the former rector of the Sri Pali campus of the University of Colombo, Professor Tudor Veerasinghe, emphasized that the need of the public awareness on the pros and cons of the information exchange via the digital technology. Human society is based on information. Therefore, the public should be cautious in handling social media so that their personal information will not go into the hands of outsiders. He also noted that preventing the school children from being addicted to technology is a social responsibility of everybody. The Welfare Benefit Board says that the re-verification of the computerized information received by the divisional secretariats for the payment of welfare benefits has already commenced. Chairman of the Welfare Benefit Board, B. Vijayaratna, stated that 158,000 re-verified applications have been entered into the data system so far. Further, Mr. Vijayaratna mentioned this process would be completed within 5 to 6 days. He added that it is expected to display the list of names of the eligible individuals for the relevant welfare benefits at the Divisional Secretariat Office expeditiously. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, The construction of the bridge that joins Ratnapura, Batogedara and Ihella Hakamuwa commenced today. State Minister Janaka Vakkumbra was the chief guest of this occasion. This bridge joining Ratnapura and Palmadula Divisional Secretariat divisions will be constructed with a construction project funded by Netherlands. Addressing the gathering, State Minister Janaka Vakkumbra said that this construction will be completed expeditiously. The expenditure of the project will be 70 million rupees. Over 2,000 families will be benefited by this project. The Department of Examination says it has started mailing the admission cards and timetable for the 2022 GCE Ordinary Level Examination. Accordingly, the admission cards and timetables of the school applicants will be mailed to the principals of the respective schools. Admission cards and timetables of private applicants will be mailed to their personal address. The examination department informs that the school candidates who have not received the admission cards from the principals and the private candidates who have not received by mail will have the opportunity to download the admission from May 18th. Accordingly, the opportunity to downloading the relevant admissions is available by visiting the official website of the examination department, www.doenets.lk. The examination department said that applicants who have not received the confirmation letter can make inquiries by calling 011-522-6100 or 011-522-6126. The General Certificate of Education 2022 Ordinary Level Examination is scheduled to be held from May 29th to June 8th at 3,568 examination centers. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
New governors were appointed for 3 provinces. Lakshman Yapa Abewardena was appointed the governor of the North-Western Province, while Mrs. P.S.M. Charles was sworn in as the governor of the Northern Province. The newly appointed governor of the Eastern Province is Senthil Tondaman. The new governors were sworn in before President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Public Health Inspectors Union has forewarned of an exacerbated health problem in the near future since the test of identify COVID-19 patients are not being carried out at the ground level. Making a special statement today, the president of the association, Upul Rohan, emphasized that the people need to follow the health guidelines, again for their own safety. He explained that a viral illness and also a condition that can be suspected of being COVID-19 are widespread at present, and it is spreading like an epidemic within schools and other institutions. Therefore, he urged the public to be responsible at the moment. That came to you on Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Kremlin says Russia won't enter into hypothetical discussions on Black Sea grain deal. Police suspect arson in Delhi, New Zealand hostel fire. French court upholds ex-president Nicolas Sarkozy's corruption conviction. World news in detail. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told reporters that the Kremlin won't enter into hypothetical discussions as the extension of the Black Sea grain deal hangs in balance. The grain deal between Ukraine and Russia allows Ukrainian ships export grain and fertilizers from its Black Sea ports to the rest of the world. The deal is set to expire on May 18th. Earlier, Russia's UN ambassador Vasily Nebenzia said that Moscow would only consider extending export deal beyond May 18th if systematic problems linked to Russia's agricultural exports were not resolved. New Zealand police have launched a homicide inquiry into a fire at an emergency housing hostel in Wellington, where at least 6 people were killed. Officers said up to 20 people were still missing and they were treating the blaze as an act of arson. The fire had broken out at the 4-story Loafers Lodge hostel early Tuesday, forcing residents to the rooftop and some of jumped from the windows. Due to the damage, police have not yet able to confirm the death toll. France's former president Nicolas Sarkozy lost his case on Wednesday against a 2021 conviction for corruption and influence peddling at the Paris Court of Appeals. The court upheld a sentence of 3 years with 2 years suspended. He will wear an electronic bracelet for the remaining year instead of going to prison. Sarkozy has vowed to appeal the verdict at the France's Supreme Court. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Kremlin says Russia won't enter into hypothetical discussions on Black Sea grain deal. Police suspect arson in deadly New Zealand hostel fire. French court upholds ex-president Nicolas Sarkozy's corruption conviction. That ends world news.
Development news.
The government of Japan, through the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, is providing $4.6 million to strengthen the production capacity of smallholder paddy farmers in identified districts of the dry and intermediate zones of Sri Lanka. Through the initiative, approximately 250,000 smallholder paddy farmers cultivating paddy on land holdings up to 1 hectare in identified districts of the dry and intermediate zones will receive up to 50 kilograms of urea fertilizer, each for the upcoming cropping season. The fertilizer will be provided free of cost. That ends development news. Moving on to sports news, Novak Djokovic criticized Cameron Norrie's behavior after the Briton hit him with a smash while his back was turned into the Italian Open match. Djokovic reached his 17th successive Rome quarter-final with a 6-3, 6-4 win in touchy encounter on Tuesday. He had already been irritated before being hit in the ankle when he had already given up the point. Speaking of the play, he said, as players they know what was not fair play. That ends sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Brandeis Apparel Limited signed a partnership agreement with the Global Water Partnership recently to strengthen joint efforts to advance youth engagement with water and sustainability. The Memorandum of Understanding signed between the organizations spells out priorities for strategic collaboration, including strengthening youth engagement in water resources management by creating opportunities and knowledge exchange. The agreement also deals with deploying resources to address youth-related collaborative programs with respect to the 2030 Global Agenda concerning Sustainable Development Goal. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Economic news, courtesy of...
For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first, and this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC, imagine the possibilities.
Director of the Asia and Pacific Department of the International Monetary Fund, Dr. Krishna Srinivasan, says that the Sri Lankan government has made commendable progress in implementing the reforms proposed by the International Monetary Fund. During a special press conference held at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka recently with the IMF staff team visiting Sri Lanka, Mr. Srinivasan said Sri Lanka's economy will achieve an economic growth of 1.5% in 2024 and that the IMF will continue to provide support to strengthen the economy of Sri Lanka. That ends economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
Weather report.
Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western, Sabragamba, northwestern, central and eastern provinces and in the Mullaitivu districts during the evening or night. A few showers may occur in western coastal areas and in the Galle and Mathura districts during the morning too. That ends with the report. To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. China expresses interest in assisting Sri Lanka in education and technical skill development. The need of the public awareness in information exchange is emphasized. The list of eligible applicants for welfare benefit are re-verified. Mailing the admission card for the GCE ordinary level examination commenced. Foreign news, Kremlin says Russia won't enter into hypothetical discussions on Black Sea grain deal. Sports news, tennis, Novak Djokovic criticizes Cameron Norrie's behavior at the Italian Open. With that, we wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka.